Mr. McLean. Schnell! Weiter!
Hello and welcome back to another television review here from MBE. Today, whenever, John,
Guten Nacht.
we are moving on to episode 8 of Scam 1992, the Harshad Mehta story. This episode is called Matador, and we'll find out why in a moment. 9.4 out of 10 on IMDb, and the short synopsis. It's because I'm preparing myself to say Shuseta. Once Shuseta gets to know from Venkatarajan, you're really putting me through the mincer tonight, about the involvement of NHB in the scam, she releases this news, which leads CBI to start with interrogation of Firwani. Harshad fears of Firwani telling the truth. What will Harshad do next? That is the big question.
Kill him. That was never ever addressed in this episode. No. What happened to Firwani?
It's all up in the air, isn't it?
He get killed, Steve.
It wasn't natural causes.
No, he was fit. The guy ran. He looked dead, but he did run. So it wasn't natural causes. I'm pretty convinced he was killed by an authority, if not the Prime Minister or that little guru guy allegedly. That's on a sort of a hotline to Harshad. Then it's maybe Harshad, one of his goons, maybe that little baldy guy, maybe it was I don't know,
maybe it's in the book, The Scam.
Maybe, Stephen, I'd be interested in reading that book, I tell you that. Yeah. So that may be happening, but look, I digress. Tangents aside, let's get this streamlined down. We've been told, keep it under 15 minutes. We will do our
You're Scottish. We don't have to streamline chat.
No, we don't. Stephen, intro. I've just said a quote here. Why are you thinking of going down? When the messages are going up, we are protected by a higher power. It's Firwani and it's Harshad. It's a flashback of him brokering the deal to save his own hind, if you'd like. Try to get the 500 crores shortfall to give to the SBI. There's that many BIs, RBI, CBI. It's the State Bank of India. He's doing a deal with Firwani. Firwani's not sure. Again, he says, look, that deal's still there. For Delhi, you can be in the parliament. He does a dodgy deal. He gets the assurance. Firwani says, look, if this comes out, 40 years of hard work is down the drain. I am finished.
His reputation,
What did you make about that speech? I found that very telling for Harshad Mehta. This whole, we're protected by a higher power. That can take two meanings. It can either be a higher power being a deity, a god, or it could be the Prime Minister and the actual government of India. They've got their back. Yeah. Because whatever it is, as this episode transpires, you quickly realise that no one's got Harshad's back. Not the Prime Minister, not some godlike figure. No one. He's on his Todd.
Firwani either.
On his lonesome.
Yeah, I think so, John. I think Firwani as well is not a mug when it comes to Harshad's spiel. You know, I like that flashback. That's one of the things that I've not.
Black and white too.
We've not really mentioned. As we've been doing these reviews, is I like the fact that they do put up the dates because it does keep you on track. It was clear to see it was a flashback. Yeah. The reason I know that is because round about that time I started my first ever job on the 13th of April 1992, so I know exactly when I see the date coming up, I know exactly what was happening in my own life. So I think putting in black and white was very clever as well for a flashback intro as well. It was a good scene because it was something I felt was missing, and it was missing obviously to be played out in this episode from episode 6 when it all went down. But yeah, I mean, it's all about Firwani's reputation. 40 years of hard graft, you know.
All ended on a bed.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad, but that's the chances you take.
It is. I mean, you deal with people like this and you take risks, sort of manipulating the market for your own gain, be it financially, be it in a position in Parliament. Then this is what you get. Not all of the sort of positives or the things you get from it are going to be positive. No. You're going to have negatives, and as we see from Harshad and Ashwin and everyone involved with Crore and Firwani, things go pretty negative. Well, Firwani for probably the most, because I mean, he dies, so I mean, at least Harshad was alive till 2001. This guy popped it in a bed. But look, I digress, Stephen.
In 1992.
Yes, in 1992, 28 years ago. Wow, a long time ago now. Venkataraman, I can't say the guy's name. Venkataraman. Well, let's slow it down. Let's say it one more time. Venkataraman. Yeah. That's what I'm going to go with. He meets secretly with Suitcase, and I sort of a place you wouldn't expect the governor of the RBI to be.
No.
I don't want to say it's like a ghetto or something, but it's a poor region. And as someone who comes from
standards,
from a poor area in Scotland, Parkhead, I can sympathise with these people because Steve was pretty much like that at the start. But look, I wasn't quite, but it wasn't far away. Not a place you'd expect a governor though, and he's providing dossiers of information to Suitcase, a journalist friend whose name I still don't have, regarding Harshad's transactions with Kundli's, how he got the 500 crore shortfall, how he saved his sort of self from the SBI, all of that, and he's urging them to exert some outside pressure on Farwani. If he's involved, he can't do it from his position. He needs someone from outside to pressurise it so that they can get him to squeal talk if he'd like. What did you make about that scene? I liked the way it was shot, of the two of them walking through. It was a nice little panning side shot. They go up the stairs,
ladders,
and then you see him, and you're like, whoa, this guy shouldn't be here.
Well, exactly, John. It took me by surprise seeing him there. He was the last person I thought would be there. I would expect
He's
someone
a schemer though.
Yeah, well, I was going to say I would expect someone like Harshad to pull a stunt like that. But you're right, he is a schemer, John, from opposite ends. But yeah, I mean, this is the point that had to happen for Suitcase's sort of story in this, and her sort of part in it as well, was to be handed this what would you call it? It was like a file, a dossier, of information regarding Harshad's transactions. So it was an interesting scene, and it's keeping up that sort of investigative theme to the last two episodes as well, which I like, and
Harshad's caught in the hop again. He's not aware of what's going on. He thinks he can still save himself. Look, they'll not come after us. I've paid the money back. It's all okay. But it ain't. These guys sniff blood and they are coming after him hardcore. So you're right, Stephen, that was an interesting scene. It's keeping the investigative side up again. We're staying out of the financial circles. It's the investigators who are front and centre. And that continues on, because of course we see the rise of Madhaven in this episode too. But Stephen, there's another quote here. Harshad, trust is something that's very expensive. Madhaven comes in. He gets put on the investigating team who are looking into the details of this 5,000 crore shortfall, or Crore's shortfall. Even now I don't know how to say that in the market. The scam, if you like. He's an expert at this. This guy can use violence. He starts going after Farwani. It gets released that he's been involved. And he starts squealing like a bitch. She doesn't so much squeal in the actual interrogation, but the pressure builds on this guy. He speaks again with Harshad. He says, look, don't give me your bullshit. You keep saying the same thing. I'm not listening to it now. And then he says to him in another meeting by the sea, I'm going to have to retire or resign here. There's no other option. Harshad says, you don't, just stay at it. I'll take the heat. I'll take the fall for it. I'll find a way out of it. He retires or resigns. I keep saying retires. I thought that was an interesting scene. He folds like a pack of cards, I've says, under pressure, and it becomes becoming a hands-on target for Madhaven and his investigators. They go after him. What did you make about that? The introduction of Madhaven. I'm making him sound like Mad Martigan from Willow. What did you make about that? What did you make about the introduction of this guy, Farwani folding? And just the building pressure on Harshad. It's becoming clear this guy ain't getting out of this one.
Well, there's that other guy as well. I can't remember his name. The little guy that sent off on holiday from
Sitaraman.
That's
coming up.
Well, that was it. All right. So that was after. Right. Okay. Farwani just didn't say enough. When he was getting interrogated. And I think this just irked Madhaven even more. There was a point where he was getting really frustrated with him, but he knew that it was he'd only need one more sort of session of interrogation with him when he would fold. And Farwani, to his credit, admits this to
I can't do it again.
Harshad. He says, I can't do this again. Jordan, I've got to be honest with you. It's his death. That's the reveal in this episode. I saw it coming a mile away. I knew that this was going to end badly. It was either going to be a murder or it was going to be the stress of, just the pressures of him. So I think that was probably the only thing that was maybe a negative. But I'm nitpicking, John, because I kind of saw that coming at the very end of that. I'm kind of skipping forward here. But the introduction
you've got a 6-stone Labrador trying to kill you here, Stephen.
The introduction of Madhaven, whatever he's called, and his investigators. I love the way they enter a room as well. That way he just leads them in. It's just means business, and he's not going to take no for an answer. But his interrogation, we'll talk about obviously with Starman, was very funny.
Yeah, he's got a great quote as well too. Farwani, leave Whether you take the lift or the stairs, the only way is down.
Yeah.
He forces him up the stairs.
Every episode has a quote like that.
Did you not love the fact though, Stephen, that this guy was struggling to come up the stairs, but he goes out and jogs for like marathon level lengths of jogging? So
they said
either
something
fit
about
or not
that.
fit.
I think it was something to do with his blood pressure though.
Was it?
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
Life,
that's probably why he popped it then. He probably died of a heart attack through the pressure, but I still maintain this guy was killed by government officials or whatever, trying to save Harshad's hind, if you like, hide, but behind hide, they both work. You're right, Stephen. Obviously he does, he pops it, he conveniently snuffs it, and he really takes all his secrets to the grave with him, but it's not enough to save Harshad.
No.
Sadly, I've says here that obviously unproductive phone call between him and the Prime Minister. That's when it really happens. He says, look, you have to deal with this guy's going to sing, we're in trouble here. He says, we'll sort it out. The next scene he's lying dead in the bed. So what are you meant to think there? They're kind of hinting to you that it could be natural causes, but it could be someone that's killed him. They probably don't know themselves.
It's very cigarette smoking, man.
Absolutely, Stephen. That's your X-Files reference there.
Yeah.
So Chahta obviously guilt-ridden to hell after it. She's in her office. She's in a state of shock. I love that scene where she's sitting at the desk. They're questioning, is it natural causes or suicide, or was it nefarious? They keep asking her, and it's sort of like
she feels responsible. Yeah,
it's like sort of the white noise, the sound coming in. I love that. It was great. And what she does, she feels responsible. As I says, the last episode she gets a standing ovation from her colleagues. This one she's getting eyes of sort of, I don't know, accusatory eyes that she may have been responsible for this guy dying.
She wasn't.
Untimely. She wasn't. No. She was just doing her job and trying to unearth scams and whatnot. But Stephen, we have to speak about Madhaven, because he enters the fray. This is another new face. He's got a Gene Hunt style of investigating. That's a Life on Mars reference. A guy who's very old school, not scared to use violence to get the information he requires. And he really goes after all of the primary players at SPI, and I love it, man, because these guys were so big and tough when they were going after poor little Sitaraman, this nervous wreck. They were going after him and saying, look, of course we're here. We're not here to get you and your son to pay respects to you. We're here to bring you back. You've committed fraud. We are the big bad guys. This guy comes in and they're all quivering like wrecks. The main guy, he asks him to take him into his office. You're embarrassing me in front of my workers. He basically stands up and says, okay, we'll go in there then. Slaps him down. Sitaraman gets a Chinese, sort of, what do you call it, Chinese rub?
Like a burn,
he burns his arm and takes him. Loved it. As soon as Sitaraman came onto the screen, it's what he says to him, Stephen. You're really the boss at SBI. Sitaraman Bank of India. You're a real VIP, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy's going to fold.
He's always in control, this Madhaven guy. I find the interrogations, especially the one with Sitaraman, was really just it was really just reminding us of all what was happening, in the last few episodes and the scheme that was going on. But I loved the guy's style. I know that
and setting you up for what's coming for Harshad. When he finally meets him.
There's that bit where he says, that chap says, "Can we get into my office like you said? My staff are watching me," and one of them is watching. And he says, "What are you watching for? Get back to your work." And then he's saying to him, "I'm a good guy, don't you?" And like, this guy's just messing.
You can't use violence in your workplace, but fortunately I can. That's him hidden. If you don't give me the information I want, you're going to get your shit kicked in. I like the guy, man. I says it in the previous review of episode 7. He's a maverick. You kind of hate some of his means, the way he goes about it, but at the same time, because he's going against Harshad and he's a good guy in this story, if you'd like. But I also like him in a sense too, because he's quite funny. When they raid Harshad's house, it's amazing, man. He's making jokes. You'll make me breakfast. I can't recall the dish that he was requesting, but you go to the kitchen. I'm not joking. I want this made. I heard it was good. Such a change from the first raid earlier on in the season, when obviously he's ahead of the game. He's cooking them breakfast and he's just cocky as hell. Harshad, he thinks he's untouchable, invincible. This time he's met his match. This guy is coming after him. And Stephen, that's going to get me on to the next point I've made about this episode. It's a real tonal change in this. I says it's went more investigative. It's looking at the figures outside of Harshad's bubble, outside of the financial Citibank circles. It's more looking at people trying to bring Harshad down, unearth the mystery of this scam. And with that comes a really dark and borderline depressing tone at times. You go from the highs of his meteoric rise from a lowly sort of ground worker, the bomb broker, to entering the money market, having a huge office, a Bombay penthouse. That's all high and it's airy and it's nice and it's lightly toned. People are dying in this episode. Things are starting to crumble. This guy comes in, this heavy-hitting investigator. Things take a turn in this episode. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, because I don't know whether you share it. I know you share the depressing thing. You actually told me that. Because you've seen it before me.
Yeah, John. It's funny because you sent over episode 7's notes to me without having seen episode 8 yet.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of questions in the notes as well. I obviously knew what had happened, but it's very interesting to see it from different perspectives. The tonal change as well, how depressing it did get. We'll obviously talk about those sort of last 10 minutes of this episode as well. But you're right, you know, we're actually seeing deaths now. I actually thought there was a death at the very beginning of the episode 7 with the little decorator, because I forgot they had a patio thing out there.
What I loved about that though,
fell off the building.
So did I. What I loved though was the wife went rushing out. Harshad just looked out the window, didn't give a shit.
No, he didn't. No.
I loved it.
Disposable people.
He's disposable, man.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was the tonal change in this one. I don't know how dark it's going to get. I don't think it's going to get any darker, John, with the last 2 episodes. When we talk about them, there's got to be some kind of reprise for Harshad.
We know he doesn't get convicted of all the charges levelled against him.
There's going to be a lot of wheeling and dealing going on, you know, with the government and you know, and all these you know, bureaus and stuff like that. There's going to be some kind of negotiation going on, I would assume, but I think this is as dark as it gets. I don't think it could get any darker without really being jarring and jumping the shark, if you like.
And Harshad, actually seeing him passing away or something, that's how dark you could really go with this.
Yeah.
Stephen, also we spoke about the second raid on the Mehta household. Then we will enter the bullfight. You will be your Matador. This guy says to Madhaven. There's some great lines in this, really memorable quotes in this episode, incidentally. There's another one there. Thank you for your generous offer. If you want me to drown, then I'll take you down with me. I loved that scene on the golf course with Ajay Kedia, Tiaji, Praneth and Harshad, if I can speak. They're sort of trading insults, backhanded insults, little analogies and sayings. He says something about a buffalo, and he says, well, sometimes you need to take the bull by the horns yourself.
Yeah.
Just trading a little sort of fencing jouse at each other. I don't know what your thoughts were on that, on the actual raid on the household too, because it went on for 12 hours, and then he takes them away and arrests them. They get sort of incarcerated in the CBI. And also, as I say, there's darkness, there's lightness in that scene. You've got comments about the breakfast. He's laying the law down. Hi, to his children and stuff like that. We'll see you later. And 15,000 square feet and stuff like that. This is great. Let's sit down. And then the darkness of this guy's empire crumbling. What was your thoughts on all of that? The golf scene?
I'll start with the golf scene, John.
And I'm hitting the ball perfectly.
That was practice. Oh, shit. That was practice during the night. But what's Kidia? What's his first name?
Ajay.
Did you notice that him and Harshad have not spoke since that first episode where they met?
Yeah.
They don't have any interaction. He's always in the background.
Because he's a bitch, Stephen. Yeah. Ajay.
But he talks about him all the time when he's not present, and then when he is present, he doesn't even interact with him.
Tiaji's seen the opportunity.
Yeah.
Sell off the holdings. Give him a bad deal. We'll take his holdings. We'll do something with it.
Yeah.
People with fraud this scale or scams this scale, they don't go to jail. They get bailed out after a month. So he's a sensible one. Tiaji, he's a meddler, a dodgy fella, but he knows he can make some money. Whereas Ajay's, he's more emotional.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah. Want to bring him down at all costs.
The kind of bust as well, John, if you want to call it that. I love that. I love the way that he enters the room with all his guys behind him, as I mentioned. There's just something about him being in control. Not many people in this series up to this point have been in control when Harshad is in the scene. Yeah. But this guy, Madhaven, is. He's ready for him. He's obviously been told the stories of the previous bust about how cocky Harshad was offering them breakfast and being very calm.
Vegetarian.
But he's actually saying, you can't touch that, put that down. And then the brother comes in.
She's the phone.
You can stay here. We're going to go down to my office.
We've arranged the buffet for them.
I knew what they were doing. That was an arrest. It was basically an arrest. But it was a great scene, John. It showed you the sort of shift in power as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. And you're right, because he came into the SBI office when he owed the 500 crores and he was laying the law down. The tea's very bitter today. Next time, make it sweet. He was the man. He was an untouchable figure. He was the right-hand man of the Prime Minister. He had the government on his side. Now they're all bailing. They're leaving him as a scapegoat. And this Mad Haven guy comes into his very own house and he lays the law down. And it's a change in, I don't know, sort of tone, a change in power dynamics. And it was very interesting viewing. That's what it says. The tone, it changes dramatically in this episode. And I think it will probably maintain, and then we'll maybe get some uplifting moments with Harshad, maybe getting some, I don't know, moments of reprieval, happiness, I don't know, man. But obviously Chahta gets a dressing down as well. She goes to the Mehta residence after they've been arrested and she tries to get information out of the wives, and I think it's the little baldy guy whose name I always forget. He's the right hand man, if you like, and they go after them and say
he's not a partner now.
You know, see him though, he says to Ashwin he signed off all the holdings in case they try to go for them. Do you not want to look? No, you've looked at them, that's enough. I'm like,
I don't think he has.
Have a look at that documentation. I don't trust that little shit. He's going to try and screw you over. That's my prediction. But obviously, they speak to Chahta, they give her a dressing down. You don't care about the man, you only care about the story of the man. What about terrorists and the government and all of this? We aren't a threat to the country, things like that, dressing down. I thought that was quite a good moment. It's the first time we've really seen the wives speak up.
But yeah, they spoke up, but they were wrong because they were living in luxury. Illegally. You know, and you can't tell me they didn't know that. You know, they can't take the moral high ground with the reporter. They can't do that. You made a good point, John, with Chahta saying about, you know, this was never personal. She didn't like him, but I don't think the pursuit of him was nasty or anything like that. She's a truth seeker in her job. She's a journalist. That's what they do. They want to seek the truth and have a story. I think a respectable journalist, that is, obviously ones that want to go for sensationalism or exaggerate stories. Obviously,
you want a scoop, go and get some ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. She's tried to have a bit of a good reputation in her career, and I can understand where she's coming from. But you're right, John. She doesn't like Harshad. She doesn't like.
I don't like you.
She doesn't like him.
He doesn't like you
either. You did
either.
make a good point. She did say that, but I think it's more of the.
It's Stephen. It's the authenticating what's going on. Trying to unearth this scam. It's a huge story. If you're a journalist at that time, that's where you make your career off a story like that.
It doesn't matter if she likes him or not.
It's not. She's right. It isn't personal, the actual story. She doesn't like Harshad. She doesn't like people of his ilk taking advantage of the system. But it's not personal actually going after him. It's just getting the actual story. So in a sense, she's telling the truth. Stephen, all sorts of shit goes on after this though. The jobbers for Gromore on the floor of the Bombay Stock Exchange, they start getting beaten up and getting their clothes ripped off them.
I didn't understand that, but beaten up, because why are they taking their clothes off? I don't know.
Very strange. It's because probably just ripping them off. You don't work here anymore. It's because of you. This market's uncertain. It's collapsing. We're all at risk because of you and your boss, Harshad Mehta. The little baldy guy drives in. All of the crowd rush at him, chase him back up the street. You've got an effigy of Harshad burning. It's all going to shit.
Quick enough.
He wasn't. It was for.
I was like, come on.
That's for dramatic effect. Come on, you're one of them.
Yeah, come on.
But Stephen, he does. Look, it's really just framing it in a way to show you that he is being made a scapegoat. Harshad is the scapegoat. He's refusing to bow to pressure though. He isn't squealing like Sitaraman and like Farwani before him in front of Mad Haven. He's not exactly given as good as he gets either. He's looking a little bit nervous.
He's getting tired by mosquitoes as well, apparently.
He's getting bit by mosquitoes, well, it does look like a mosquito sort of ridden hellhole he's sitting in, and they refuse to give him cream. So that's just the final boot in the balls for him.
That was the line I was talking about just at the closing sort of sequences of this episode. Mad Haven saying, this is the Harshad Mehta story. This is where it's taken us. You know, it's not all about the glamour. It's not all about the scheming. This is it. Where you're at just now in this prison cell alone with the mosquitoes. This is the story.
And he's right, because it's not about the rise. It's ultimately the whole story. And if he falls into ignominy and sort of infamy, I can't even speak tonight, then that is the story in the end. And look, obviously at the end, he obviously tells him at the end too, not only am I coming after you, but when I'm done, you get no reprieve, because there's some financial foreign irregularities surrounding your business too, so they're going to come after you too. So sleep tight, don't let the mosquitoes bite, because you're in for a long time. But of course it doesn't end on that, Stephen. It ends on Harshad phoning up this little guru guy. I don't know who he is. He looks like a sort of Hindu spiritualist leader who has ties to the
Very
Prime
chilled.
Minister.
Yeah.
He actually says his name. He says his name begins with a J, I think an S and a J. Basically, he lays the law down to him, says, look, I'm dying here. Get me out of this or I'm going to bring everyone down with me. And he says to him, are you threatening the Prime Minister? And he smiles and says, well, you're the all-seeing omniscient or something, or omnipotent. Can't recall the word that came up in the translation, but basically he laughed at him and says, well, yes, same word. I'm bringing down everyone if you let me rot in this jail. So what did you make about that cliffhanger? What do you think that's going to bring for the final 2 episodes of this TV show? You think we're going to see a Harshad renaissance, him fighting back, or will he ultimately, it'll all be in vain and he'll be left to rot in that jail? I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I don't see him getting away with it, John.
Well, we know he doesn't.
I do know, obviously, there's going to be a lot of wheeling and dealing around in the last couple of episodes, but I loved that. It was just a sort of one last hooray for Harshad Mehta. He's got one last trick up his sleeve. It's last resort stuff. If I'm going down, I'm taking everyone down with me, or I will name names if I've got to. So it was. It kind of leaves it again on a cliffhanger. That's what I like about any television series like this that isn't standalone episodes that just blend into the next episode. So it was a good way of leaving it hanging there for the next episode. I liked it.
Stephen, final thoughts on performances? I've not actually got it in my guideline, but there was some very good performances in this.
Yeah.
Again, I'd say Pratik Gandhi number one, but the guy who played Farwani as well, and Matt Haven. Probably a 3-way tie between those in terms of acting performances. I like the Mad Haven guy.
I'm gonna just say their names, John. You've got Rajat Kapoor. He plays Mad Haven.
Yes, he's very good.
I know his face, and I've probably seen him in something, but I think obviously Pratik Gandhi, Sheera Danwanathari, or whatever you call her. You've also got I thought this character's name was hard to say, Venkataraman, right? This is his the acting name is
a triple barrel.
it's Anath Narayan Mahadevan. He is a fantastic actor.
Yeah, he's really good.
And he's consistent.
Seen him singing?
Yeah.
When he read the newspaper?
Yeah.
I'm just a lone traveller or something.
Yeah. He was great as well. For me, it's always going to be Pratik Gandhi for me. But he's not in it enough for me to justify him being the standout performer in this episode. It goes to Rajat Kapoor, who plays Mad Haven for me.
Yeah, he was really, really good,
Really
Steve.
good.
But look, final thoughts on this, man. I've really enjoyed this. This is one of my favourite episodes today.
Very dark.
Because it's really starting to change tonally. It's gone off in a different direction. We're starting to see the empire crumble, and I did say that. It's great seeing the rise of these figures, but ultimately the fall and collapse of the empire and all of the backstabbing and the stuff going on in the background and around these figures, that's when it becomes really fascinating, and this is when we're starting to see it. These final 3-4 episodes, and this was right up there for me in terms of episodes. Really, really enjoyed this one. But I don't know if you've got any more thoughts.
I've not, no.
Well, that's going to round up the review of episode 8, Matador, the Harshad Mehta story scam 1992. What's your thoughts on that episode? Where does that rank for you? What do you make about the turn in tides for Harshad Mehta? Do you think, have you watched it, does he kind of come back? Perhaps not share that, because that'd be a spoiler. What was your thoughts and performances? Anything at all? If you've got anything to say, you can comment below and let us know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this in the future. And if you do, that's what you'll get more content like this in the future. But look, until then, as ever, I'm going to bid you farewell with a bye.